Welcome, everybody. This is your morning on Spectrum News 1. Happy Monday to you. Sarah Pilla in for Giselle this morning. Great to have you with us.
Great to be here as always. Lovely to start a Monday here at the desk with you and, of course, with you at home. And as you probably know by now, it was a very tragic weekend from coast to coast. 2 shootings devastating the U.S., one happening right here at home in Laguna Woods.
That's right, Sarah. Gunmen opened fire Saturday in Buffalo, killing 10 people in one of the deadliest white supremacist massacres in recent U.S. history. Almost all the victims were black.
And just as we were beginning to grapple with that grief, yet another mass shooting rocked our nation. Let's get you up to speed on what happened here in South Orange County. Now, it's alleged that the suspect's hateful rants included references to a theory of white replacement. We have seen this happening more and more often. Talk about the fear of increasing diversity and its impact right now.
Yes, to me, that's the heart of this matter.
Desalination is the process of removing salt from ocean water so we can drink it, but it doesn't come cheap. It requires a high amount of energy, and there's disagreement over the impact to the environment. Because we'll enter the orange tier starting Monday, and what that means is that restaurants and bars will be able to welcome more customers. But the industry will take some time to recover. 11 companies submitted proposals to the California Natural Resources Agency on how to save the Salton Sea from completely drying up. Now, it is a major issue because the receding water supply increases the lake's salinity, killing off fish and destroying migratory bird habitats. It's one of the most divisive issues in our nation. I'm talking about, does pineapple belong on pizza?
No, although there's many people here, Sarah, this morning that feel like it does.
Apparently they do. I think you either love it or you absolutely hate it. Here is a Cessna Grand Caravan that's being retrofitted with their hybrid electric technology. Under here is the cargo belly area of the plane. That's where the batteries go. And then you'll notice here at the front of the plane, the nose is off, and that's because they take out that combustion engine. They put in that hybrid electric technology. You can think of it like a Prius that flies, and that's exactly how this all began, with an idea to take ground transportation electric vehicle technology, putting it into our airplanes so we can help decarbonize the emissions that come out from the aviation industry. This is Lake Mead, used for recreation like boating, but it's also where water is stored from the Colorado River for states like California, Nevada, Arizona, and Mexico to use. But the lake is at its lowest level since it was filled back in the 1930s. And for the first time ever, a water shortage has been declared. So I wanted to show you during the last break, I collected some pieces of plastic that were just in this general vicinity. And I put it here so you guys can see plastic bottle caps, a coffee cup, wrappers, many of these items, a fork that are non-medical single-use plastics. And that is what we are talking about here. This report by Oceana is just a snapshot of this unfolding crisis of plastics flooding our oceans here in the United States. And what it is doing is it's harming marine life in the form of ingesting these plastics or entangling them. Take a look. This is Mookie, a California sea lion pup who just arrived at the Pacific Marine Mammal Center. She's getting an exam to determine why she's not doing well by Dr. Alyssa Deming, the center's director of clinical medicine.
So our patients that are like Mookie, that are coming in very malnourished and thin, basically need tube feedings, rehydration through subcutaneous fluids.
Dr. Deming says it's not uncommon for other sea lion pups like Mookie to arrive with a stomach filled with trash and plastic, like Ping, who suffered a deadly fate after his GI tract was perforated by plastic.
And that's often what they succumb to when they eat plastic, is a perforation of their GI tract or a blockage of their GI tract that kills them. So that's what happened to Ping. And this is a lot of trash for an animal that was probably under 25 pounds.
A first ever report by the world's largest ocean advocacy organization, Oceana, shows how pervasive the plastics crisis is in our nation's waters in ways we are only beginning to understand. They surveyed dozens of agencies, organizations, and institutions and found documented examples of almost 1,800 animals from 40 different species swallowing plastic or becoming entangled in it since 2009. Overwhelmingly, 88% of the animals in the report were listed as either endangered or threatened with extinction, something very eye-opening to Oceana scientist Dr. Kim Warner.
To find that this material that was only recently created by humankind is now threatening the survival perhaps of many of these endangered and threatened animals is a real concern.
Researchers at Oceana say the known cases reflected in this study are just a small sample of a much bigger problem. They estimate 15 million tons of plastic wash into the ocean every year. That's about 2 garbage trucks worth of plastic entering the ocean every minute.
The United States is the biggest producer of plastic debris and plastic waste in the world. And now we're ranked, I think, number 3rd in the world for how much of that leaks into the ocean. So we've got to own this problem.
Throughout his entire career, scientist Wallace J. Nichols has studied sea turtles. Over time, he saw more and more plastic inside these animals during necropsies. Oceana found documentation of nearly 900 sea turtles from all 6 species found in U.S. waters, swallowed or became entangled in plastic since 2009. About a fifth of them were recently hatched turtles, just a few days to a few months old.
Even these young turtles, just these really small green turtles that we find with hundreds, if not thousands of pieces of plastic inside, it makes you sick. There should be 0 pieces of plastic inside wildlife.
The report makes it clear the problem of plastics in our waters is getting worse. Solving it will take action, policy change, and shifts in our behavior with dependence on single-use plastics like bottles and bags.
We have actually off-the-shelf solutions to many of our environmental problems. It's just creating the will, the personal and political will to put them into play.
Oceana's senior advisor, Alexandra Cousteau, yes, that Cousteau, the granddaughter of Captain Jacques Cousteau, calls most non-medical single-use plastics fundamental design flaws. She says reports like this can give policymakers and everyday consumers the needed information to make change.
Something that we use so briefly should live on in our environment for hundreds, if not thousands of years. We can address that. We can change that. We can design a solution for that. And if people ask for that and really insist that the brands that they love and the companies that they buy from find an alternative solution, I think that those companies will listen.
When plastic enters the ocean, it doesn't biodegrade, but rather breaks up into smaller pieces, eventually becoming microplastics. And those microplastics are found in every part of the marine food chain.
It comes back to us in the fish that we eat. It comes back to us in the trash on our beach and the impact that that can have on tourism. It comes back to us in so many different ways. So it's important to feel empowered in these difficult moments.
As Dr. Deming works to heal the animals being cared for at the Pacific Marine Mammal Center, she hopes reports like Oceana's will inspire people to make different choices when it comes to single-use plastic.
Nature is already hard enough for them, trying to figure out how to find food and forage appropriately, get away from predators, and make babies. And then when you layer on things like having a ton of plastic that can be life-threatening in their environment, it can be a bit frustrating.
Currently, plastic production is only expected to grow. That's a trend these struggling populations of threatened marine mammals and sea animals cannot bear. It's going to take all of us, citizens, government, and companies, to figure out how best to break our single-use habits and dependence on plastic.
So one of the most staggering statistics in that report is that about 2 garbage trucks worth of waste end up in the ocean every minute. So with plastic production expected to increase if we do nothing, the amount of plastic and trash in the ocean is expected to triple in 2040.